From the battlefront to Barney, from the War on Terror to the Wiggles, the experience one Omaha surgeon has truly runs the gamut and is truly making the Heartland proud. It is a long way from the Middle East to the Midwest, but the well-decorated office of Dr. Ken Azarow's West Omaha home makes it hard to forget how just a few short years ago he was in the middle of a war zone.
I literally went to Baghdad just to be a surgeon operating, to get the experience of wartime surgery and to do my part.
As a residency director, the career military surgeon was exempt from deploying, but it quickly became apparent the graduates he was training had far more wartime surgical experience than he did. So he volunteered to go to Baghdad in 2005, a decision he initially had some second thoughts about.
You really start asking yourself, I actually really did volunteer for this? What in the world am I doing here?
But as the chief medical officer for the 86th Combat Support Hospital, he found his life's work in a completely different world.
Until you've experienced it, you cannot even imagine.
A world where his work became both fulfilling and frightening.
No matter how experienced you are, there's always an adjustment period until you get actually used to the severity of the injury. It's like nothing you can ever imagine.
Was it eye-opening for you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
The hospital he was in charge of saw more than 900 trauma cases a month. Trauma at a level he and most other stateside surgeons would never normally see. Injuries from explosions that initially had him baffled.
I felt a substance that I had not felt before, and I'm like, what in the world is this? It took us a while to figure out that that was the spinal cord just floating free, and it was severed in half.
But eventually, he adapted. His hospital became a well-oiled machine, no matter how many patients kept coming in, no matter how many mass casualties there were.
To watch the hospital that I was in charge of work that efficiently was, at that point, one of the most satisfying things I had ever experienced.
But less than 2 years later, Azarow was helping out in Afghanistan as a member of the much more sparse 541st Surgical Team.
I felt more like MacGyver than a general surgeon at times.
His life even more threatened, countless more lives saved, and when he finally returned home, there was a newfound perspective for his life.
We have a phrase in our house, and we use it all the time. You know, somebody says they had a bad day, and you know, my wife will just remind me, you know, nobody's shooting at you, and it's the bottom line.
The difference between what Dr. Azarow was doing in Iraq and Afghanistan compared to what he is doing now right here in Omaha, we certainly wouldn't say it's child's play.
I'm just a little kid at heart anyway. I can relate to little kids pretty well, I think.
Azarow is now a surgeon at Children's Hospital and Medical Center. He came to Children's to do what he has always loved doing, teaching. He's helping start a pediatric surgery fellowship here, hoping to make it the most sought-after place in the country for people to train to be pediatric surgeons.
I love operating, I like taking care of children, and this is my future right now.
Instead of operating in the middle of a war, he is often dealing with parents and kids in the middle of a war of emotion.
It's good to see you, Olivia.
And says no matter what he saw in the Middle East, it can't compare to losing a little one.
You just never forget. Those patients stay with you your whole life.
He says Omahans should feel extremely fortunate to have a place for their kids like Children's, just like he feels fortunate to be here.
It's a lot safer here, that I will tell you, and it's in many ways equally as challenging.
Dr. Azarow joined Children's last summer after turning down offers from Portland, Seattle, Houston, and Washington, D.C. Sports coming your way next.